Good evening.
Good evening to all, and good evening, Gunendra sir, who is a special lecturer in today's session. So, it's our fourth session of our 30 days internship program, which was conducted by Law and Justice Research Foundation in association with Law Exams. Hopes the previous sessions provided you with a lot of informations, and today our session going to deal with the topic bar bench relations, challenges of legal profession, and the scope of ADR. It's an interesting and relevant topic, especially as a law student, we must know, and they are expected to assist the court in the administration of justice too. So, to all interns and participants, wishing you a graceful, knowledgeable session ahead. And now I invite Mr. David Verghese Thomas for compiling the session. Thank you. Over to you, David.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello, am I audible?
Audible. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Titi. Good evening, guys. I'm David Verghese Thomas, a fourth-year law student at Government Law College, Trivandrum, and currently an intern at LGRF. I'm really grateful to LGRF for giving me yet another opportunity to complete the fourth session of the LGRF internship program. We have with us our speaker for the day, Advocate Bhuvanendran Nair sir, here to give us a session on bar bench relation, challenges in legal profession, and scope of ADR. A year ago, I've had the privilege of listening to a session by Bhuvanendran sir in my college. Therefore, I'm pretty sure you guys are going to love today's session. Now, before we get started with the session, I invite Ms. Arya V. Nair, fourth year student at Government Law College, Trivandrum, and intern at LGRF to welcome the gathering.
Thank you, David. Am I audible?
Yes, Arya, you are audible.
Okay. Respected dignitaries, my dear fellow interns, and all others who are present here, a very good evening and thank you so much for joining us today. Myself, Arya, fourth year BLLB student of Government Law College, Trivandrum, and currently doing internship at LGRF. I feel immense pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar conducted as part of this internship program. So now, I would like to welcome respected personalities we have with us today in this webinar. As Jeremy Bentham said, the power of the lawyer is in the uncertainty of the law. Likewise, the challenges of legal profession will be making us more powerful at the end of the day. For enlightening us on the topic, lecture on bar bench relations, challenges of legal professions, and scope of ADR, today we have with us our guest, Advocate V. Bhuvanendran Nair sir, District Court Trivandrum, as keynote speaker of the day. Sir is a visiting faculty in law at Kerala State Civil Service Academy and Police Academy and mediator at Kerala State Mediation and Conciliation Center. As we all know, Bhuvanendra sir is not only an excellent teacher but also an inspiration for many. So it's my great honor and pleasure to welcome Bhuvanendra sir to today's program. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Arya. Thank you very much.
Next, I welcome Tejas Purushothaman sir, President of LGRF, and who is also acting as one of the pillars of LGRF. On behalf of LGRF, I extend my warm welcome to sir to this program. Then I wholeheartedly welcome Ajay Kamath sir, Secretary of LGRF, who has also shown the enthusiasm in all events conducted by LGRF and also who is an integral part of LGRF. Next, with utmost respect, I welcome General Conveners of LGRF, Gino M. Kurian sir, Neelima V. Nair ma'am, today's webinar supervisor, Ms. Srilakshmi S., LGRF Technical Committee members to this program. Then I extend my welcome to Ms. Amina Esam, who is present here to offer vote of thanks. Last but not the least, I welcome all the LGRF state members, faculties, advocates, research scholars, other respectable dignitaries, interns, and all of the persons who are present here to enhance this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Arya.
Thank you, Arya. That was an excellent session. Now it's time for us to start the session we've all been waiting for. I invite the speaker, Advocate Bhuvanendran sir, for the same.
Thank you, David. Shall I start, Mr. David?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Is my voice clear to you all?
Yes, sir. It is.
Because today there is some net problem and throughout raining from morning onwards. That's why in Trivandrum it is raining throughout. Anyway, I think it is. I'm audible to all of you. Today.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, a task has been given to discuss certain aspects of basics of law related with the bar and bench relation, challenges of young lawyers, the scope of ADR. All are knowing, and today you are reading in newspapers and all. It is just a discussion. First of all, let me thanks to the officials of LGRF, including Safi sir, then Sri Lakshmi, David, Arya, and other friends. You all know we got a chance to learn law. I feel lucky because we got a chance to learn law and live in India. It's a great country having great culture, great civilization. To maintain that, to keep up that, we have a great role, especially those who are learned law, those who are studying law, and those who are interested in law, because no society can stand if it is lawless. Especially, you say the Indian democracy function under a great principle known as rule of law. Rule of law is the base of Indian democratic system. Law is supreme. Each and every person is bound by law. It is already connected with Article 14 of Indian Constitution. You all know that. In that, it very clearly says that law is not a subject; it's a way of life. Because to maintain a good society, to have a better society, to have a better life and dignity of person, there must be mutual respect between the persons. You all know that. Because ultimately the basic right a person needs is to live with the human dignity. How to live with the human dignity? His right to be protected. He should be recognized as a human being with all rights guaranteed by the constitution as well as the society. We all know. Moreover, in India, it very clearly says that ignorance of law is not an excuse. Each and every person supposed to know law. That excuse is given only up to the age of 7 years old. You all know that. So we are lucky enough we got a chance to learn law. Moreover, we have a great duty towards the society. It is not a profession to live. We have a great duty towards the society. If a person who is having the knowledge of law is very much useful to the society, is having a great duty to the society. It is rightly said that a study of law is not only useful for self, but also it is for the use of neighbors, to the public at large. Because we know to protect the human rights, to protect the environment, to protect the social situation, to maintain law and order, to protect the dignity of person, to protect the country at large, is the duty of a person who is versed in law or a person has the knowledge of law. So we have a great duty, great obligation towards the society. That's it. Roscommon rightly said that a person those who are learned in law, or person who is learning law, or he is having a great duty, he is a social engineer. He is building the society. You have a great role to build a better society. Because you might have studied, law is nothing but it is a code of conduct. It's a code of conduct. What is code of conduct? How to interact with others, how to be in the society. How to interact with others, how to be in this society. Because they are part and parcel of society. Because society has certain social norms. How while living in the society, the way which we interact with others, the way which we live in the society, that gives certain values. Law is nothing but it is a set of values. Rather we can say it is a set of norms. So we learn the norms, how to be in the society, because norms are nothing but certain guidelines. Why guidelines are required? The guidelines are not there. It may violate the rights of other person, it may infringe the right of other person, it may encroach the privacy of other person, it may disturb the life of other person. So we should not disturb the life, or we must maintain the status of a person, dignity of a person, individuality of a person, privacy of a person. That is the duty of law. Each and every person, because mutual respect is everything. Whatever the right I have, the same right others also have. I must realize that. Then only I can make a better society. That's why we said that in law is nothing but it is a code of conduct. But rightly said by Salman, it's a body of principles recognized and applied by the state in the administration of justice. The ultimate purpose of law is to give justice to the people. Actually, what is justice? Justice is nothing but satisfaction. You know, Roscommon said there are 4 purposes of law. What are those 4 purposes? The first purpose of law is to maintain law and order. First and foremost thing. Better obedience, better discipline in the society, that is very much required. Yes, self-discipline is very much required. So, maintenance of law, that state is taken that role. State is having the agency, state is having the system, state is having the police system and other systems, thereby state is maintaining law and order within the society. And maintenance of status quo. Each and every person's status is protected, each and every person's status is declared, each and every person's dignity is protected by the application of law. The third purpose, it says that maximum pleasure to the people, maximum happiness to the people, and maximum freedom to the people. So thereby, what law gives better life to the person in society. So that has been done through the by the enactment of many number of laws. Wherever the protection is not proper, state is enacting laws for giving better support to the person, better aid to the person, better dignity to the person, better status to the person. So legislation is a process whereby giving a better life to the person, better dignity to the person. Many number of laws are enacted in our country, each and every day. Already I think once I discussed to you all also, for taking birth or to have birth in this country, there are two laws are enacted. Two laws are enacted for the birth of a female fetus in our country. You all may be knowing MDP, Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, and PCPNDT Act, Preconception and Prenatal Diagnostic Technique Prohibition of Sex Selection Act. So two laws are enacted for the protection of dignity of a girl child, fetus, a female fetus. Such a way the law is giving protection to the people. So as persons who are got a chance to learn law in the college, we have a great duty. That's why I said that we have a great duty towards the society, because by rule of law only we can maintain peace and harmony in the society. By peace and harmony only we can have a better society. By better society only we can look after the well-being of the people. By looking after the well-being only we can look after the welfare of the people, because Article 38 of Indian Constitution very clearly says that such a social order to be made in that inequalities in income to be reduced, inequalities in status to be reduced, inequalities in opportunity to be reduced. So, legal education not only give a degree to us to realize this, how to make a better country, how to look after the well-being of the people, because you are going to become the lawmaker, you are going to become the law executor, you are going to become the interpreter of law. Tomorrow you will be, because the future of the country is in your hands. You are going to take the roles in your hand, in your shoulder, this burden. So you must know, I learned law. It is not for using it as my profession and my earning. I have a great role to the society. I have a great duty and obligation towards the society. So thereby, first of all, we must know the great challenge of a person who learns law is to serve the society, to protect the society, to protect the human rights, to protect the environment. It's very well. If this environment is not protected properly, we cannot live. We will be no more. It is a great duty. So, the great lawyers who has fought for the protection of environment, MC Mehta, we cannot forget him. Hundreds of cases he filed before the Supreme Court and different courts to protect the environment, to protect the rivers, to protect the hills, to protect the monuments, to protect the system. Many number of laws. So this is our duty to protect, because we know, and we have to give literacy to the people, those who are not having the legal knowledge. Legal literacy is another important aspect. So we got a chance to learn that we have to share with others. So first of all, normally people say that laws are enacted for punishing the people. Punishment is a small part of it. The great part of the law is to protect the people. Law is for the protection, not for punishment. Actually, the purpose of law is to protect the people. Why punishment is there? Prevention of crime. By punishing a person, the others come know if a person is violating the law may be punished. Thereby we can prevent the crimes. So, Justice Bhagavati rightly said once, he said that the progress of the society is dependent upon the proper application of law according to the needs of the society. Very well said. Proper application of law according to the needs of the society. He further said, it is the judge who infuses lifeblood into the dry skeleton provided by legislature and creates a living organism appropriate and adequate to meet the needs of the society. So, lawyer is having a great duty to support the court. What is the relation between bench and a lawyer? Because a majority nowadays, it is not that each and every person who has completed his law degree is going to the court and arguing the matter. No, you have many areas which you can contribute for the betterment of the society, betterment of the country. practicing the court is a certain percentage of people are going. Interpretation of law has been taken as the as a profession, as a duty by a class of people, because public interest litigation, people are, those who are public spirited person are taking the matter before the court and getting relief to the persons at large in the society. So it is the duty of each and every person to protect others. So let's start with the bar and bench. Additionally, what is bar, what is bench? A group of, or a collective term used for attorneys, those who are licensed to practice in the country, or licensed to practice in the court, can be called bar. You all know. And bench is the judges, who is together distinguished from the bar. Actually, there have been distinguished persons who have been elevated to the bench because they have the knowledge of law. They are well versed with the law. So the persons, those who are having the experience, having the practice, having the eloquence, having the knowledge of law, is elevated or taken or selected to interpret the law as a distinguished person in the court. He is a judge to decide the matter. The person who is an advocate is assisting, is an officer of the court assisting the judge to impart justice. Because they are supporting, they have the materials, they have the facts, they have the law in their hand. Accordingly, they are arguing the matter before the court, and strongly is bringing the facts before the court with evidences, and finally getting the law practically. Justice is imparted by the proper application of law. Justice is nothing but it is a satisfaction by the proper application of law. So who is a judge actually? He should be a strong person, powerful person, impartial person, and active and capable of understanding the things. Actually, so a person who is capable of interpreting the law, knowledge of law, well versed with the law, is elevated or taken to the place of a judge. So there should be a cordial relation between bar and bench, because both are always together imparting justice to the people. Or actually, advocate is an officer of the court. Actually, they are expected to assist the court for the administration of justice. The ultimate purpose of law is to administration of justice. It is said by Salmond, and many scholars already said. So, what are the duty of an advocate towards the court? First of all, the judge is having a duty to accommodate the advocates or a bar, and because encourage the advocates and give mutual respect to the advocates. Ethics Central you already studied. So advocates actually collect the materials related with the case, and thereby he is assisting the court to arrive a correct judgment. So the conclusion of the judge is given by the materials supplied by the advocates. Normally we say advocate is a mouthpiece of the clerk. He should never become mere a mouthpiece, because he only knows the fact, he only knows the law, he only knows the rights. So he is a mouthpiece, okay, whatever the needs of the clients, whatever the wants of the client, whatever the interest of the client, to be protected. That doesn't mean that he is just a mouthpiece. He is having a role, and as a officer of the court, and he is a partner with the judiciary. He is not an outsider. He is also part of judiciary. He is always a partner with the judiciary in the administration of justice. That he should never forget. He is not an outsider. He is always a partner with the judiciary. Without him, judiciary cannot interpret it, because he is supplying the material. He is supplying everything. So, same way, the court also always respect the attorneys or the advocates, and they should the dignity of both bar and bench to be maintained in a balanced way. One cannot interfere, or one cannot violate it. Both have such a manner to protect the dignity of both. So, and advocate is okay. Once a client is coming to you, you cannot say whatever he said that is right, because client counseling you might have seen. So prevent a client from resorting unfair practices in relation with the court, because he may be coming with a lot of expectation. He may not be knowing the proper application of law. So to teach them, to say proper application of law. You can say what may be the advantage, what may be the disadvantage, everything to be said to the client. Otherwise, he may be having such an expectation, whatever he says. So you know the fact of it, you know the law of it, you know the evidence of it. Sure. Always, the advocate should clearly say to the client, this is your position, this is the position of law, because he should always give correct information, correct advice. Should never misguide the client also. So he may have a lot of expectation. But after hearing a client, you will come to know what are the how much of his expectation can be satisfied by the proper application of the law. That and all a lawyer must know, because a lawyer is a well-versed person. He only knows what is the how much fact it is there, how much evidence it is there in his case. That and all we can come to know through the client counseling. And you should not influence the decision of the court by illegal or improper means. Give it the correct citation, give it the correct law. This is all the duty of the advocate. You should never mislead the court. Improper and illegal means should not be there. And other aspect is, should not use or interpret the language, the language which he is using. He should be having certain, while arguing the matter, dignified language, unparliamentary language should not be used. Use and interpret the language during the argument. That because legally we know whatever we say before the court, we should be polite, obliged. We should not raise our sound. Normally, when you went to the court and seen the court practice center, people are loudly shouting and all. Actually, that is not required. Actually, we are just presenting a matter before the court by presenting the facts. So that is no need of raising the sound and all. So while arguing a matter, you can politely say. So by upholding the dignity of the court. So mutual respect is necessary for the maintenance of cordial relation between the judge and the court. So that is very much required. In ethics, you might have studied the obligations towards the court, what are the ways a person supposed to be in the court, how the court should be. Actually, dignified conduct, it is one of the important things. You might have studied in the ethics. Then respect to the court. Once you are respecting the court, the client also will respect. If you are not respecting the court, the client will not respect. The proper respect is not given to the court, we cannot maintain law and order. This is the last resort whereby a person feels, yes, I will get justice from the court. So the relation between the bench and bar should be such a way that respect to court as well as. That's why when we enter, we give such a respect. So we are giving such a respect to the court. That is, maintain that respect. Then only the clients also will. So no improper means. That's why I said that. There is no private communication. There is nothing, no improper means to win the case. Whatever the fact, whatever the evidence, whatever the proof, it should be properly. That's why earlier said that no misleading of court, no unfair practice. Unfair practice in the sense people may use certain documents or certain wrong affidavit, and so it should not be. Whenever you present a thing, such practice should be. The unfair practice should not be, because a client may give some wrong information, some documents which are not correct, or some wrong means, or they may say, sir, these are the ways we can do. No, you know the actual legal proceedings, because that should, whatever supposed to be present, it should be in a presentable way, the proper presentation supposed to be, that you know. This and all actually you studied in the ethics when you studied. No, not to wear advocate robes. Now robes also it is not there. There's a lot of changes have been come. No need of wearing gown and all. There is a change anyway. That robe should not be used in a public place and should not use it as a status symbol before the public, because it is the robes has been given an advocate to identify for the identification of advocate and argue a case before the court. That should not be used outside. So not try to influence, because the judge or the magistrate may be studied along with you and all. keep the dignity of each and every person. Let be a magistrate, let be a judge, let be a justice. Equal status, equal respect to be given, lower court or higher court or any court. The court to be properly respected. Peace and all already you have gone through. Then 7 lamps of advocacy and all you are already knowing honesty, courage, industry, wit, eloquence, judgment and our fellowship and all you may be knowing. So first of all, this must think it of the better relation between the bar and bench to be maintained. Give proper respect to the bench. Same way, the bench has to give proper respect to the bar, because both are the wheels of a chariot carrying or taking justice forward. Without bar and bench, we cannot deliver justice. So there should be cordial, amicable, better relationship to be maintained. If it is not maintained, we cannot deliver justice proper way. We cannot respect from the society and people towards the society. Thereby, it will shatter the delivery of justice. So that is why I said that scandalizing the court and allegations against the judge. If a case is failed, people may, or the person who appeared may make allegations against the judge and court. This court is like, no, never make such allegations. Never make such scandalous statements. Never question the authority. Never use insulting language in the court. So addressing judge in a loose manner. Sri Lakshmi, am I clear to you? Is it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So misconduct of a lawyer amount to contempt of court. Moreover, Advocates Act 1961 says about disciplinary action can be taken on a person who is having misconduct. Advocates Act 1961 very clearly says. Contempt of Court Act 1971 very clearly says. Because you have freedom of expression under the Article 19 of Indian Constitution with certain limitations. Everybody says that freedom of speech and expression is my fundamental right. Yes, no doubt that you have the fundamental right to freedom of speech and expression. With the limitation clearly said in 19.2. 19.1a says about the freedom of speech and expression as a fundamental right. At the same time, 19.2 very clearly says that your speech should not affect the sovereignty of the country, integrity of the nation. It should not affect the security of the state. It should not affect the friendly relation with the foreign state. It should not violate the decency and morality of the society. It should not incite a person to commit an offense. It should not be a contempt of court. It should not be a defamation. So it should not violate the public order. There are 9 limitations. With the 9 limitations, you have freedom of speech and expression. Yes, you have freedom of speech and expression. At the same time, think it up. While using it, these 9 limitations are also given. Why these limitations are given? If it is not limited to that extent, it may violate the right of other person. It may violate the privacy of other person. So, in a successful advocacy, we need 3 things: presentation of facts in a proper way, and give proof for that facts, and thorough knowledge of law. Thorough knowledge of law. These are the 3 basic knowledge while presenting a case. First, presentation of proper facts and proper evidence for the proof of those facts, and the law in support of it, including the decision of the higher courts. So you must have a clarity on that. So while presenting a case, these are the basic things, because we have only 2 hours. Within the 2 hours, we have to discuss many things. So let us think then what are the scope and challenges of an young advocate. The scope and challenges is nothing but you must be thorough about the present legal position. Knowledge of law. First and foremost thing, a young advocate must have the knowledge of law. So he must know what is the present day law, because the great challenge is to protect the society, not only protect the client. By protecting the client, you are giving a message to the society. These are the ways if the rights are violated, each and every person has to face the same thing. So social justice is most important. The preamble of the Constitution very clearly says it is secure to all its citizens justice. What justice? Social, economic and political justice. To give social justice has to be given in a different way. by reservation on the basis of caste, by reservation on the basis of religion, reservation of disabled persons, differently abled persons, certain reservations to the children, certain reservation to women, certain reservation to older people or senior citizens, certain reservation to people having special script, culture, language, certain reservation to the people geographically separated from the mainland. So reservation has been given in many levels. Why such a reservation has been given? Those who are downtrodden, those who are marginalized, those who have not come up with others, to be brought to that along with them. That is equality. We may say why such reservation is required. That is required to bring them equal with others. For that purpose, reservation is not on caste basis. It has been given in many ways. That is said that caste, Article 15, 16 says, on religion, Article 30, then scripture, culture, language, Article 29, then special reservation for women, Article 15.3, directive principle state policy, special care for children, separate given directive principle state policy as well as Article 23, 24, senior citizens. So, many ways it is because those who, thereby we are protecting social justice. Even economic justice is given. Those who are not able to purchase the foods to be given subsidized rate. APL, BPL is there. And not only economic justice, moreover, the person who is enjoying more has to pay more tax and collecting whatever the money as tax is used for the well-being of the people. Taxation is for that purpose. So, we must know that to give justice to the people, what we are supposed to do. So, the main challenges, Justice Bhagavath rightly said, his quotings actually he said, if the law fails to respond to the needs of changing society, then either it will stifle the growth of society and choke its progress, or if the society is vigorous enough, it will cast away the law which stands in the way of its growth. Law must therefore constantly be on the move, adapting itself to the fast changing of the society and not lag behind. That is why the amendment procedure is given. As per the requirement of the society, you amend the constitution. Because voice of the people, ultimately we the people are deciding everything. Our democracy is like that. The needs, the wants, the will of the people are reflected. That is the lawmaking. You know all. Lawmaking initially start, earlier it was a representative democracy. It started in the assembly and parliament. Now it is not like that. It is a participative democracy. It started in the grassroots level, in the Grama Sabha. The voice of the people is collected there. Whatever the public opinion is there in the Grama Sabha is taken as the will of the people. That will is taken as the intention of the legislature. You must know. These are the requirement of the people of my constituency. That intention is taken as the draft. That draft is made as a bill. That bill when presented, it is first reading, then discussed with the other members and put on out, second reading, third reading. If it is passed with the majority, that will be declared passed and sent for the assent of the president or governor. The moment the governor or president assented, it is an act and that will be published in the official gazette. It is a law for the people of this country. So, as per the requirement of the society, because law is not static on its dynamic on. According to the needs of the society, that has to be changed. V.R. Krishna, he's quoting, he said, Justice Bhagavath and V.R. Krishna contributed much for the social justice. You know, their judgment, once if you are going through the judgments of Justice Bhagavath or V.R. Krishna, you know, the social commitment, the social responsibility. Even while reading, automatically it will be coming in our mind. We have a role to protect the society. We have a great commitment towards the society. The society is better, we can also live in a better way. The society is not better, we cannot live. If I want to protect my fundamental right, I must protect the right of other person. I must respect the right of other person. Then only I can protect. I cannot say that always state will protect or state will well. No, not only state. It is my duty to protect the right of other person without infringing their right. V.R. Krishna rightly said, the poor cannot reach the court because of the heavy court fee and other expenditure. The mystique of legal procedure. The hierarchy of the court with appeals put legal justice beyond the reach of the poor. If the people lose the faith in the bench and bar, they will easily take the remedies in the streets. This will inevitably lead to the downfall of democracy and the impotency of the court. The he's rightly said, people should not take law in their hand in streets. They should feel, yes, if my right is violated, if someone is encroached, if one is violates my rights, I have a remedy to a proper place. But that should be given in time, within time. That is a great challenge of a person who is well versed in law, because a person well versed in law must take up the matter wherever a human right is violated, wherever a person's right is violated, he should interfere it. So legal profession makes you a complete person, no doubt that, a person who is not only legal profession, also learned law. If you are learning law, you can be a complete person. They says that what are the things you are gaining by learning law? First, after learning law, you will be more confident, because these are the legal professions available. These are the ways I can live. I have such a right. So each and every person has such a right. So by knowing the law, person will be more confident and more precise. This is that more precise, because a person become rational. Rational thinking may come. Yes, whether it is right, shall I do that? If I am doing, what may be the effect of it? A person will become more rational and more comprehensive and more logical. This all can be obtained by learning law, and self-assertion will increase by learning law. So it's a very good quality, because self-assertion, what I am, what I have to do, to what extent I have to do. I can visualize the violations. Is it right or not? And thereby I can raise my voice for that. Self-assertion. This is not right, so I must raise my voice. These are the qualities we are achieving by learning law. So the person who learn law having a great challenge to protect the society. People may think, yes, I learned law, then I can. It's a noble profession actually. Noble profession. It's not a trade. It's not a commerce actually. It's a noble profession. So we must know, once I learn law, I have a great role to give back whatever the knowledge I attain to the society, for the well-being of the society, for the betterment of the society. In many ways that can give. Earlier days we say that a person who has already got the degree to go to the court. Now it is not to the court. You are having many opportunity to become an advocate, to become a solicitor, to become a consultant, to become a counselor, to become an academician, to become a researcher, to become a author, to become a social worker, to become a court reporter, to become a legal editor, to become a politician. A person who is well versed in law can become a better politician, because this politician is going to be the lawmaker tomorrow. If the person become a member of the legislative assembly or parliament, then he become a better business correspondent, a better analyst, even he became a better writer. So it goes to even a person who is a lot many areas we can serve, lot many areas we can support. So legal profession means it is not only the profession of an advocate who is arguing a case in the court. Now the area is so vast. You can select your area. So the challenge is that you must find out the right thing. Normally we say the right person should be in the right place. So for that you must have some special knowledge related with the cyber laws, knowledge related with the human rights, knowledge related with the corporate laws, knowledge related with the environment laws or arbitration laws, conciliation laws, administrative laws, secretaryship, accountship, intellectual property. Many areas are there. So you can specialize also. You can specialize in the many areas. These are the challenges, and you must try to find it out. Which area will suit me? Which area I can serve? It's actually a service to the society. So these are the challenges we have. So we are supposed to meet these challenges. So the young lawyer is having a great role. He must think it out. I already learned a law. I am going to serve the society. Which way I can serve the society? That each and every person must think it out. You should think even legal profession. It takes a person up to the judge of a Supreme Court or a Chief Justice of a Supreme Court. He starts from a law degree and finally he reached to the level of a judge in the Supreme Court or High Court. is deciding the things. But think it of. It will take time. That we must have because attaining knowledge, practical knowledge of law. In the law colleges, they are learning 5 year or 3 year, the textbooks and the things which for the examination sake. No, that is not sufficient. The experience, that's normally we say that the guidance, the LJRF is giving the great thing, giving guidance to you all. What to do, how to select your area, which way you can serve the society. It's really a great support. The office bearers of this LJRF is doing a great task and improving, because when we passed out from the law schools or law colleges, there was nothing. We are totally blind what to do. Only one option is to join some office and practice, nothing else. Now it is not like that. Lot many choices. You can select many areas. So think it of. Whenever you go, wherever you go, you must have sufficient knowledge. Sufficient knowledge. So, and you must have sufficient confidence. Yes, I can do that. How to obtain that? In between, people may say the financial support also required to reach that level. So that normally we say that just after learning law, a person comes to the profession, or just like medicine and all, they are having internship in between. During the internship, they are given support by the state or the medical council. Such a way, support is required at least minimum 2 to 3 years, because during that period you are gathering knowledge, you are attaining the working knowledge under a senior or a person who is a guide. So that time it is very difficult to pull on. The support is required. Normally, whenever certain meetings are there, we used to say yes, the young person, those who are coming out of the law colleges, should be given little financial support initially. That is required, because initial the 2-3 years are just like training. They are practicing under a senior, they are practicing under a research teacher, or practicing under a guide. So they need financial support also. So normally that is also a basic requirement for that. So the Bar Council of India and Bar Council of State has take such care for that also. So now think it of the legal profession is not simply a court affair. It's not a court affair. So the legal profession is so wide. That's why I said that public interest litigation has come to that level. Then protection of human right is something. Protection of environment is other area. Then protection of forest, protection of wildlife, protection of environment is a area. So these are the areas a person has to select it and he has to practice it. So the young lawyer is having a great opportunity, and that opportunity to be utilized with the proper guidance. That proper guidance anyway this LJRF is giving to you. So you can utilize that, especially at least you are getting this 30-40 days training. Now online training they are giving. You can attain that knowledge by this. It will be a great help for the young lawyers. So the bench and bar relation, the opportunity, the scope, the challenges, little bit we discuss, because it will take hours together if we start discussing these all. So advocacy also a great matter. Advocacy doesn't mean that always going to the court and practicing. Advocacy is another, giving opinion, giving assistance, giving information, giving support to the people, those who are in need of support of law. So that you can do, that is another thing. So now the advocacy is not only taking place in the court, it is outside the court also. It is not always in the court. You know, the number of cases are pending because everybody goes to the court for justice. Finally, the cases pending before the court is increasing day to day. The number of the docket explosion is taking place. Ultimately, the judges and the courts are not sufficient to clear off the cases which are pending before the court, because whenever the legal knowledge, legal literacy increases, the conflict increases, the dispute increases, the difference of opinion increases, the disagreement increases. To address it, to resolve it, authority is required, authority of the state is required, authority of the learned persons are required. So we have no sufficient number of courts. We have some 17,000 of judges working, 17,000 of courts are working in India. So that is not sufficient for clearing of the cases or a matter pending before the court. You have to find other means to clear up those cases. Otherwise, person may not get justice. So people were running for justice years together, and filing a case before the court and getting justice after 20-25 years is of no use at all. His next generation, the third generation come for litigation. So totally justice is denied. Already we know justice delayed is justice denied. So because we cannot make many number of court also. More than 3.25 crores of cases are pending as on today in our country. Think it up. 2.35 crores of cases. We are continuously conducting court delivery of justice or court for 20-25 years. We cannot clear it off. So such a large number of cases, docket explosion is there in our country. To address those matters, we have to find out something alternate. Thereby the thought started in 70s itself. At the time of Justice Bhagavati entered, they made a Silas committee for giving legal support until the committee formed. They made sessions for that. Moreover, the 42nd Amendment made a new provision in the Indian Constitution, equal justice and free legal aid, because those who are not able to take up a matter before the higher courts, because think it of a person might have brought a matter before the lower courts and he got a better decision there. The opposite party may not end the process there. We take up the matter to the next higher court and appeal. Think it of there also the poor person somehow he fought the case and he got justice there. He got a decision in favor of him. The opposite party will take up the matter to the high court. The poor litigant, a poor person whose right is violated by the influencer or rich person, take up the matter to the high court. The poor person may not be able to take up the matter because of the expenditure. He may not be able to take up the matter before the high court. Or somehow if he has reached the high court, the other party may take up the matter to the Supreme Court, and it will take lot of time, lot of money, lot of lifespan of a person, lot of life of a person. So how to give justice quickly, inexpensive, speedy, easy justice is the dream of a person. Inexpensive, speedy and easy justice. Because justice is the right of a person. Article 21 very clearly says that justice is the right. To get justice is my right. So the system should function in such a way. There should be such an infrastructure in the society, but that is not possible. So thereby we thought of giving support. Especially you might have studied speedy justice, quick justice, easy justice in Hussain Ara Khatun versus State of Bihar, M.H. Court versus State of Maharashtra. The Supreme Court rightly said right to justice is part of right to life under Article 21. A person must get speedy justice, easy justice, inexpensive justice. So that to be given. Finally, a lot of discussions were there. Finally, committees of law commission and the parliament has come to such the position that a law has been enacted. You all may be knowing in 1987 Legal Services Authorities Act has been passed. Thereby they said that a person who is not in a position to take up a matter before the court to be given support by the state. In that certain categories of persons already brought to be given free legal aid. So already free legal aid is to be given marginally downtrodden, SC/ST, women, children, those who are in the confinement centers like mental asylum, jails and the detention homes, they should be given. Then person affected with natural calamities, industrial workers, the person, those who are their annual incomes now less than 3 lakhs rupees, to be given free legal aid. Moreover, without giving court fees, without much expenditure, a person can take up a matter before the court. Every court, including Supreme Court, is having panel of advocates to give legal aid. So, okay, that is one matter. Again, court has come. They thought that again, by giving legal aid and take up the matter before the court is not sufficient. It will take time. So, some alternative to be made. Finally, amendments were brought in CPC. Already amendments were made. Section 89, they made amendment. Alternative dispute resolution methods to be followed. Because unsettled United Nations Commission in the International Trade Law. They said that now the trade relations are throughout the world. It is not within the country or within the continent, because it is spreading different countries throughout the world to give justice to the people, those who are in commercial relation with the different countries, different continent. There should be some method. Otherwise, they cannot wait for the private international law to function. It will take years together. They thought of starting the other methods like arbitration, conciliation, mediation, judicial settlement, log adalat they started. Because a matter which is pending before the court, a matter already a person's having, to be taken outside the court or discussed outside the court. If the intervention of the court is not required, they can decide amicably. They can settle the matter, not decide actually. It is settle the matter amicably. Amicable settlement of the dispute, ADR. They made an amendment in the CPC 1999 that came into force on 2002 September. So arbitration, conciliation, mediation, judicial settlement and log adalat. So already we are having Arbitration and Conciliation Act. Arbitration Conciliation Act already enacted in 1996. Then on the basis of Arbitration Conciliation Act, matter which are pending before the court or other matters which are voluntarily submitted can be discussed in front of a third party, neutral third party. They can discuss the matter with both the parties. Finally, an amicable settlement can be brought up. So provisions are made in CPC, and CPC section rule 1A, 10 rule 1A, rule 10 1B, rule 10 order 10 1C, order 10 rule 1A, 1B, 1C. So order 10 already made, referring of a matter which is in the court for arbitration or conciliation or mediation. So order 10 rule 1A, 1B, 1C. Then compromise suit, order 23 rule 3. Settlement of government suit, order 27 rule 5B. So there are provisions in the CPC to the matter which are pending before the court can be settled, amicably settled outside. So this method can be used. Arbitration and conciliation says even international arbitration is said in the Arbitration and Conciliation Act. Then in conciliation also like that only internationally. Then Industrial Dispute Act there were provisions. In Notaries Act there were provisions. Then Family Court Act there is a provision. Hindu Marriage Act there were provisions. So many are having the provisions to settle the matter outside the court, thereby speedy, easy, inexpensive justice they are able to provide it. Now you see the new acts which are made, Consumer Protection Act 2019, Commercial Court Act 2015, Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizens Act 2007, all are having the provision for conciliation, arbitration, mediation. So in ADR, alternative dispute resolution, a matter which is pending before the court, if it is amicably settled between the parties, all the matters, as certain matters which is already said, that is specifically declaration of the court is required. Declaratory suit, certain declaration regarding the paternity or something, or election, regarding the declaration of election, or class interest, such matters, or non-compoundable criminal cases. Otherwise, all matters, including criminal matters, can be brought for ADR, alternative dispute resolution. So these methods were widely used, thereby the persons, those who are already in litigation, is getting immediate, speedy justice. And what are the advantages of it? That is the thing. You think once a matter is taken for alternative dispute resolution, it is amicably settled between the parties. There is no further litigation. First of all, the litigation ends there, because there is no appeal. Both the parties discuss the matter before a neutral third party. And moreover, this is made voluntary. If a person is voluntarily submitting a matter, finally, they have to come to an amicable settlement. So this process is so simple, so flexible. A neutral third party is discussing the matter with them. They are not compelling the parties to come to a settlement. So the process is totally the control of the parties. So, and moreover, they are participating. You see, in adversarial court system, the participation of the client is very less. He's just a person who is standing outside the court and watching the show. He cannot. He may be called for giving evidence once. That much only his role. But if it is an area like arbitration, conciliation, or mediation, or judicial settlement, or log adalat, he has his. He can say, he can whatever he want. He can give his statement. He can say whatever he want to say before the person who is sitting to settle the matter. So it is informal, very cordial, very conducive, and moreover very confidential. Because whatever the matter said, it is privately doing. It is not in front of the public. Court system is not like that. And effective communication is possible because parties are sitting in front of the neutral third party. So normally, when a litigation comes, the relationship totally fails. Here we rebuild the relationship. So reunite the relationship. So this process, the relationship is improved because the give and take, both are winning. There is no one is failing. When an alternative dispute system, when a person has come for mediation, when a person has come for conciliation, when a person has come for lok adalat, the parties sitting together, they are discussing the matter with the neutral third person. Moreover, in mediation, it is very effective for improving the relationship, especially family matters and all, because sufficient time is given. They are sitting and discussing the matter with the neutral third person. Third party is not at all intervening in their rights, not at all suggesting, not at all opinion, giving any opinion, not at all giving any statement. He is making the parties to open up their minds. He is assisting the parties to open up their minds. So it is mutually beneficial because after discussion both will be knowing, yes, it is mutually beneficial. Such a point they are reaching, and it protects the interest of all the parties because both the parties have a say in it, and it is the finality is there. There is no further appeal. The matter will be discussed and finally coming to amicable settlement. Even there is a provision, the matter which is pending before the court, those who have paid the court fee, they have a there is a provision, there is a right to get back the court fee if it is settled in arbitration, conciliation, mediation, or judicial settlement or log adalat. The matter is referred under section 89 CPC. The person, once the matter is settled, the court fee will be returned. The state is taking such a measure for the amicable settlement of disputes. It is not only now the matter not only pending before the court, pre-litigation cases. If there is a dispute in law college, you may be knowing whenever you are conducting NSS camps and all. The student, because I used to attend every year the NSS camps whenever the law college is conducting the camps, because the students of the college, they are collecting the cases or matters pending or disputes pending in the areas which they are conducting the camp, and matter is collected. If the pending cases are there, the matter is reported to the legal service authority, and thereby through legal service authorities, the files which are pending before the court is called and asking them to conduct a log adalat. Log adalat may be knowing the legal service authority is appointing an advocate, a judicial officer, and a person who is working for the welfare of the people, that is social activist. They are sitting together and discussing the matter with both the parties. So instead of people coming to the court goes to the place where the litigation is there, where the dispute is there, where the conflict is there. So access to justice to all. So through log adalat, actually log adalat means people's court. It's an ADR, alternative dispute resolution method. Legal service authority is appointing, or three persons, that is one advocate, one legal officer, and a social activist. They sit together and meet both the parties in the dispute, and they discuss the matter. Finally, both the parties come to a final settlement. So thereby we are, by this method, Matter is not coming to the court. Even pending case can be solved. Not only pending cases, pre-litigation, a conflict between two persons, a complaint between two persons, or disagreement between two persons is brought. Even normally in panchayat and all, whenever there is a dispute between the panchayat as well as the people, or the people within the panchayat, the complaint is there to cut away a tree or widening the road or an animal which is disturbing the life of other person, or a lot of disturbance a person is disturbing by burning some dangerous material. These all aspects the parties can be called and can be discussed, and they can abate the nuisance, like whatever said in section 133 CRPC, the duty of the collector to abate the nuisance. These are the things can be discussed amicably. Thereby we can protect that people in that area, that society. There can be cordial relation between the people within the village is made possible. Because if they're going for litigation, think it of the enmity will increase. The enmity will never end. It will day to day, the gap will be widening. The enmity will be widening. Here both are called sit the other side of a table and discussing the matter. They themselves are discussing. Finally, they are having a remedy. They are having a solution without spending much money. The solution is given in their place itself. No need of running to the court. So this is a better system. The ADR system is functioning in a better way. Around 40-45% of the cases are settling, which are referred to the mediation, conciliation and all. We are having Kerala State Mediation and Conciliation Center at Ernakulam. Under that mediation and Kerala State Mediation and Conciliation Center, every district we are having district mediation center. Not only district mediation center, subset we are having mediation centers functioning under the guidance of subcourt and all. So this is everywhere. Thereby the matter which are pending can be solved. Many number of cases are just set because actually the litigation takes place because of the feeling of the people. They can getting chance to open up their mind easily. They can come to a settlement. Many are not having the chance to open up their minds, not having a place to sit and talk together. They are not getting a chance. If they are giving a chance to open up their minds, the matter will be easily settled. The matter will be easily solved because such a way we can do. So, speedy solution can be given. Inexpensive solution can be given. The solution is as per the need of the person. We can identify the interest of the person. What is his interest in this matter? Accordingly, we can come to a conclusion. So, this arbitration, conciliation, mediation, arbitration and conciliation is as per the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996. So, it is an award passed by the arbitrator or the conciliator. What is the main difference between arbitration and conciliation? Even arbitrator can pass an award if the parties are not amicably coming to a settlement. Actually, it is somewhat parallel to the court process. They can decide a thing on merit, but that if they are deciding not in a proper way, that can be challenged on the basis of the impropriety of the arbitrator. The thing is that even arbitrator is a person who is selected by both the parties. We cannot select the judge in the court. The judge who is a trained person is doing. Here the arbitrator can be selected by both the parties. Now that is the beauty in it. In conciliation, the conciliator is already voluntarily selected by both the parties. Conciliator has no role to make a decision. He can assist, he can suggest a little bit, he can evaluate and the parties to come to a conclusion. He can contribute little bit. He is having a proactive role to decide the matter or to settle the matter. In mediation, the mediator is not at all suggesting, is not at all opining, is not at all giving any suggestion in the process. Totally the parties themselves deciding, come to a amicable settlement. And arbitration and conciliation, the award passed by both can be enforced through a court of law like an execution petition. a decree. Execution petition can be filed. If an arbitration order award is passed, that can be executed through any district court in India. Jurisdiction, any district court in India. Conciliation also like that only. Mediation, it is referred from the court. Now it is referred from the court, and finally matter is amicably settled and sent back to the court, and court is passing it as a compromise decree. Finally, it is a decree of the court, can be enforced through the court. Pre-litigation, whenever the matter comes, it can be taken to the Lok Adalat, and whatever the award passed or whatever the settlement made, that is enforceable. If the matter is coming the jurisdiction of a court, such court, if it is directly filing, which court has the jurisdiction, there they can enforce it. So, Lok Adalat, now Lok Adalat is conducting throughout India. Even Supreme Court is conducting Lok Adalat. So, thereby an alternative dispute system is very well functioning, and number of cases which are pending before the court and the complaints of the people are heard and amicably settled in our country. That gives lot of relief, lot of satisfaction to the people. This ADR is a better system. Moreover, that actually, why it is a better system, we say that the parties have control over it, the parties are participating in it, the parties are voluntarily deciding the matter themselves. It is very speedy, very efficient, very economical, very simple, very flexible, and informal. It is cordial, and it is conducive. Why? Because there is no such procedure is said. What is come? If they want to say privately something, okay, we hear the parties privately. Moreover, the matter which is not in the case also can be brought up. That is the connected matters along with this complaint also can be brought up in the mediation. They can discuss. These are the matters which are not brought before the court, but I have certain complaints or a certain reservation regarding that. Well, such matters also can be discussed. And moreover, it is very, 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 very confidential. Until unless the parties are saying it can be said to other party, even the mediator has no role. And better and effective communication is possible, because direct communication is possible. With the help of a third party, the communication can be made, and the settlement will be mutually beneficial. Why? Because both the parties are agreeing, and it promotes finality. It gives refund the court fee also if it is paid. So this is very, very, very encouraging. So that's why the ADR is growing. A person who is a law graduate can easily take this ADR area as a specialty. He can be a arbitrator, he can be a conciliator. A specialized area you can select it. So you can be a conciliator, or you can be a mediator. The mediation is great because that need now 40 hours training. Now those who are mediators in India are given training by the Mediation Project Committee, Mediation Conciliation Project, MCPC, Mediation and Conciliation Project Committee under the Supreme Court of India. And every state we are having state mediation and conciliation center. So this process is beautifully working in our state also. So that's it. The ADR is growing nowadays. Through ADR, we can reduce the pending cases. We can give justice wherever the person is. No need of taking up the matter to the district court or high court or supreme court. Wherever the person is there, the dispute can be discussed there itself. Thereby we can give a better settlement. Access to justice to the person at the doorstep. So these are made possible by the ADR system. And now many laws enacted nowadays is having the provision of conciliation or mediation. They already made a provision. Especially motor accident claim, now already they say mediation, separate mediation cell they said. Even Consumer Protection Act, conciliation already is said. And Maintenance of Parents and Senior Citizens Act, conciliation is said. Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act, there is a provision for conciliation. Then the Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act, Care and Protection of Children Act, already having a provision for that. Ultimately, the purpose of law is not to punish a person, because reform a person, rehabilitate a person, because we are following the reformative theory. Reformative theory very clearly says that no child is born as a criminal. The situation may seem a criminal. Because a child is born, there is no one to look after him. There is no one to provide food. There is no one to provide accommodation. He's a wandering child. He's a street child. He's an abused child. He's an exploited child. Because there is no one to look after him. When he is hungry, he may steal a loaf of bread. There may become a thief. So, society, we have a role to protect the person. Those who are not in a position to look after themselves. That's why earlier when Juvenile Justice Act was made, it was meant for punishing the juvenile offenders. JJ Act 1986 was for that purpose. Those who are committing, the children, those who are below 18 years is committing offence will be sent to the boys' school. After the CRC, Convention on the Right of Child in 1989, which came into force in 1990, they said that it's the duty of every state to protect the children, those who are abandoned, those who are orphaned, no one to look after. So they amended the law. Majority countries, they amended the law. We also made a law in 2000, that is juvenile justice, care and protection. Two categories of children. A child who is suspected in a crime, he cannot be called a juvenile offender. Now he is called as a child in conflict with the law. The other category is child in need of care and protection. So reform, rehabilitate, you can easily change a person. So law is having a duty to change the society, to build a society and make a better society and look after the well-being of the person, to protect the dignity of the person, to protect the welfare of the person, and thereby make India a welfare state. Ultimately, it is very, because the socialism is said in our constitution. What is socialism? Article 39 B and C says that whatever the resources available in this community, each and every person must have access in it. So whatever the resources, this rain, this sunlight, this river, this sea, this forest, this wild animal, whatever things are there, whatever are there, everything belongs to you and me. Each and every person must have access in it. Each and every person must have share in it. Each and every person must have say in it. That is socialism. It should not be denied to a class of people. It should not be denied to a group of people. Each and every person must have access in it. And moreover, 39C says the concentration of wealth in the hands of a few is violation of socialism. State must have control over it. So these are the ways it is said in our constitution. Beautiful constitution is made. If the constitution is working properly, we can, and if you understand the constitutional provision and try to follow the constitutional provision, we can make a better India, because Ambedkar and a team has contributed much for making such a better constitution for the people of this country. And we must know it. How we will come to know? That role is with you. With the young, those who have already got a chance to learn law. That's why I said that. We are all lucky enough. We got a chance to learn law. In a law school, in a law college. Really lucky. Especially in India, ignorance of law is not an excuse. Each and every person supposed to know law. Is there any chance to learn law? Is there any school or college for giving knowledge to all the people of this country? The knowledge of law? No, it is not possible. But we cannot say a person does not know law, that's yes, no. Ignorance of law is not an excuse. Each and every person is supposed to know. And in that concept, we got a chance to learn law. So we have a role to protect the society, to build the society, to make a better society, thereby make social equality and rule of law a reality. Law is supreme. Each and every person is bound by law. So equality to be maintained. Equal protection of laws and equality before law to be maintained. There should not be any arbitrariness in the law. No arbitrariness, no bias. That's why I said that. Even Article 21 very clearly says that. Very clearly, no person shall be deprived of his right, life or personal liberty except according to the procedure established by law. Think it of. No person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to the procedure established by law. person's life and personal liberty can be deprived, provided there is a procedure established by law. Even after Maneka Gandhi, there again in addition, that procedure established by law should be fair, just and reasonable. That is not fair, just and reasonable. We cannot say that that procedure established by law is a right law. The interpretations of the court, the contribution of the Supreme Court of India is great to widen the sphere of law. Think of Article 21, and one article gives right to be born, right to grow, right to education, right to employment, right to marry, right to treatment, right to pollution-free air, right to pollution-free water, right to take part in the beauty contest, right to better health, better life. Even what is the right to die, it was gone up to that level. So how beautifully the court has interpreted the constitutional provision. These are the greatness of the great Ambedkar and the team. They have done much, they have contributed much. You just think of what we are doing for the society by learning law. We must have thorough knowledge about the law. We must understand. We must study. We must do whatever possible by us to make a better society. The society is not functioning properly. We cannot live in a better way in the society. If the human rights are not properly protected, no human can live with the dignity and status. That's why in Aruna Schoenbach's case it is said that the basic right a girl need is to live with the human dignity. That is right to life, not an animal existence or a vegetable existence. No girl is born to have an animal existence or a vegetable existence. Every person has a right to live with the human dignity. That is right to life. That goes to the extent of donating organ, reproductive choice, to take part in the personal activities, privacy goes to that level. It is discussed. Even the husband cannot record the conversation of wife in a phone because she has a right to. Even nobody can compel a girl to marry. Even parents cannot compel a girl to marry according to their choice. She has a right. He has a right to marry. Such a right is guaranteed. So each individual is having a right to live as a human being with dignity. Such a way right is protected. We must know such rights are available in this country. How this right to be made a reality? If the right to be made a reality, the proper application of law should be there. The proper application to be applied in a proper manner. A proper manner must be made known to those persons. People are not aware about the laws. That's why they're taking law in their hand. People must be aware of the law. Not only that awareness, through that awareness, he must feel that he is getting justice. So the advocates, the judges, the law teachers, the scholars, those who are the agencies which are supposed to implement law must make sure that these are meant for the well-being of the person. These are meant for the betterment of the person. So that well-being and betterment is properly done, and then only we can have a better society. Otherwise, it is of no use at all. So that's why study law properly. It is not for examination purpose. Okay, to study for passing the examination, that is other thing. Not only that, we are learning law for making a better society, for building a better society, for having a better country. So the legislation to be in that extent, better laws to be enacted for the well-being of the country. Many number of laws are. Why this many number of laws are required? Each and everything we come to know. Such a way law to be enacted. Then only it can protect the right of those class. As I said that, for the protection of children laws are made. For the protection of women laws are made. For the protection of old age laws are made. For the protection of SC/ST laws are made. For the protection of differently abled laws are made. The protection of transgender laws are made. So each and every area we are making law. Protection of property, protection of right, protection of each and everything, employment, protection. You see, many areas we are enacting law because wherever the violations are there, wherever the infringement are there. So to resist that. So thereby we are giving better life to the persons in society. We are trying to make a better society. So these are made known to the people by giving proper awareness of law. So you are having a duty not only to do law as a profession, to spread legal literacy. Best law teachers we need. Better research. Actually, in law the research are very less. Better the research to be there. Whatever the laws enacted, what is the effect of it? Is it making change in the society? Is it making a better society? If it is not, what are the things to be done? Every day you see many number of laws are enacted for the well-being of the women, welfare of the women, but their rights are violated each and every day. Why again and again, why it is violated? Many number of laws are enacted for the protection of them. But that is not reaching to them, or that is not properly implemented. Every day violations taking place. Why those violations taking place? The better awareness is not there. The better knowledge of law is not there. So it is our duty to give proper knowledge, to give proper awareness. That is also a great duty, to spread legal literacy in a proper. The legal service authority has taken that role also. In village level, in school, college, grassroots level, they are giving legal literacy, making aware of the people. Wherever the awareness are there they can resist the violations. How the rights can be protected? He must know the rights. He must know the violations. Only knowing the right is of not use. If the right is violated, what remedy we have? Where to approach? What to do? We have a human rights court. We have a human rights commission. We have human rights commission. We have child rights commission. They are having a great role to spread this literacy, legal literacy, wherever needed. So, my humble suggestion is that we got a chance to learn law. So whatever the knowledge we got from the colleges by learning law, it should be spread to the people in society. It should be spread to the youngsters, those who are coming up as the social activists, to the right. That is your duty. So the groups are having a great duty through NSS or through these forums. Spread the message of law, spread the message of right, because we must have a better society. A society with the obedience of law is very much required. So, law-abiding citizens, we can have a better country. And moreover, the violation should not be from the part of the state also. State is very mighty. State also must think it up. We should not violate. We should protect them. Because state is having a great duty to protect the right. If that rights are not properly done, not properly carried out, we have a remedy. Even you think it up, the strike is going on many days in Delhi. Now finally Supreme Court has said they have a right to protest. At the same time, think it of women, children, those are sitting in the open space in this winter. Think it of what to do, how to solve their problem. So court has intervened. Already we are having the judicial activism, but sometimes they say that judicial activism is not going to the excessiveness. Certain degree of judicial activism is required. But that activism must have accountability also. Not only judicial activism. If a law is enacted which is violating the right of the people, we have a remedy to declare those laws unconstitutional through judicial review also. Now we are naming the term judicial activism, judicial restraint, judicial review, judicial excessiveness. So judiciary, sometimes they may go little bit excessive. Why? Because that is required for certain period time. So anyway, our Supreme Court has given many better decisions, many decisions which are widen the scope of our fundamental rights, especially for best example is Article 21. The court also playing a great role for protecting the right of the people. Especially Indian Supreme Court has made many decisions for the protection of the right of the people through judicial intervention. Judicial intervention is very much required. So by learning law, by knowing law, you can live a better person with confidence, with logic, with all capability can be increased. These are actually very, it is a boon for the people, those who got chance to learn law. You are all got a chance to learn law. Safi sir already told me, sir, up to 7:30 you just discuss the matter with all of you, then give them half an hour to have clear their doubt and to give their opinion and statements regarding this all. Because if we discussing this ADR and all, we can discuss hours together. We discuss about the challenges and opportunities and of young lawyers. We can because that is a very wide area we have. We can discuss these all aspects. Anyway, within this 1.5 hour, I just discussed certain aspects with you all. You got certain points, and that maybe you are knowing, but it is somewhat it is wider. Now, whatever you want to clear off, whatever you want to say, you can say. And if you have doubt or discussions with me, you can please have. So, Mr. David, I think you can ask them if you have anything to discuss with me or to clear off.
Yeah, yes, thank you, sir. Thank you. That was a wonderful session, sir. We got to learn a lot. We are extremely grateful. Now we will be inviting questions. The participants can either unmute and speak, or they can just put their queries in the chat box.
Let them speak. They can see, because very small group. We are having some 45% are the students are there. We can discuss with them. Let them.
So there is a question already in the chat box.
Yeah. Advocate who brings.
So should I read it out?
Please.
Advocate who brings justice to the victim or advocate who saves a criminal using his efficiency is the best lawyer. It's a pathetic condition that some of the eminent lawyers are in a way protecting criminals using their talent, and there is justification that they are doing their profession. Sir, is it possible to ensure justice to the deserved one in all cases?
Advocate who are bringing justice to the victim and advocate who save the criminal using the efficiency is the best lawyer. It's a pathetic condition that some of the eminent lawyers are in a way protecting criminals using their talent and their. That's why I said that a lawyer is supposed to be a court officer. But thing is, think it of if there is the evidence is not proper, it's not properly collected. The investigating agency also have a great role to bring the culprit in the book. Why? Because our criminal justice system very clearly says that because accusatorial system which we are following. So it is the duty of the prosecution to prove a case beyond reasonable doubt. If there is a shadow of doubt, the benefit goes to the accused. Why? Because the false cases should not come up. The false investigation should not come up. The proper way the case to be investigated, the proper evidence to be collected, thereby no one to be made a victim or no one to be made a criminal by the prosecution. For that purpose only such a system has been brought. If a person is suspected in a crime, a person who is suspected a criminal, the evidence to be brought in that. We are having efficient police system. We are having efficient agencies to prove a system. Then why it is not taking place? The proper investigation may not be there, or the person, those who are asked to investigate, may not be doing it properly. So there only I said that the proper awareness, the proper way things to be done, that should be made known to the persons. So that the right person is not in the right place. Each and every person, I got education not only for earning everything for me. The education is given to give light to others also. So I must know, I must think it of. My education is for the betterment of others, for the better society. But I am forgetting that. I feel that I got education because state is giving education, state is providing everything. By the grace of or by the support of state, I am getting everything. And finally, I use everything for my betterment. I feel it is my betterment. Actually, that is not at all a betterment. Finally, a person will realize it. Okay, that is something else. But I have a duty towards the society. But many are not thinking about it. That doesn't mean that a person who is a criminal has come, you just don't argue his case. It is your duty, whatever way, the way we committed it. Because the mitigating factor, even a person who is found guilty, again the court is giving a chance whether he can be corrected or not. That's why you may be knowing section 235(2) and 248(2) of CRPC says about pre-sentence inquiry. You will see plea bargaining it has started for that. A person might have committed it because of certain situations. Can we correct him? If there is a chance of correcting him, better correct him. if a person who is committed an offense is punished, two families are totally ruining. A person who is become a victim as well as a person who is committed a crime, both will be, one person is lost, other person is in jail, two families are ruined. How to protect the society? If you can prevent the crime, you can save two families. So once an advocate is arguing a case, if the prosecution is properly investigated, prosecution is having proper evidence, he cannot save a person by proving, because to prove a fact, sufficient evidence is there. The proper way of investigation is not there, or proper intervention of the authorities are not there. That's why the criminals are escaping. That we must think it of, that is a flaw, that is a latch in the system. That should not be. That should not be. Whatever, whoever is asked, that is there. And a lawyer should not use such a crooked method to save a client, because that's why he said that he's an officer of the court. He's having a duty towards the society. That doesn't mean that he's openly saying, yes, my client has committed it. No. As per the available details, that he can present it. But the prosecution is having more details and evidences related with that. They can prove in a better way and punish a person who is already committed a wrong. And that will be made example to the others in society. If anybody commits such sort of wrong, such sort of activity, he also going to face the same thing. That is happening. Okay. Okay, Mr. David.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Arya. Thank you, Arya.
Is there anybody else who has a question? They can just unmute themselves and ask sir directly.
Yes, I have a question.
Hello.
Yes, Nida, you can ask.
Please ask. Unmute it. Sudha.
Yes.
Nidu.
Sir, my name is Neeta. I come from GLC Ernakulam.
Yeah.
Neeta, yes, sir.
Okay.
So lawyers are famous as liars, and we truly will work towards changing that stigma in the future. But sir, when there is a direct clash between morals, money, and law, what should a lawyer choose? Because he also is using this as his profession to earn money, and there is a status that he has to maintain in the society also. So what should be the predominant thing that he must take care of?
Access, Neeta rightly said. Now we feel that money is everything. Because having a thought in our mind, we can purchase everything by giving money. That's why initially said that. Even we said that the lawyering is not a business, not a commercial activity. It's a profession, noble profession. You think it of why people have a feeling that by giving money we can purchase everything. You see, customary practices, the morals, the usages, having the validity of law to protect the custom, to protect the usages, protect the morality or morals. That is the duty of a person. Here, certain the morality means actually we don't know what is morality. That is the other problem. We feel that if you are doing an immoral activity, the money can negativate that also. We are having a very wrong feeling. Money won't do everything. You just think it of the practices which are going on in the tribal society and all. They are not thinking about the money and all. They have certain morality, certain norms, certain values, certain guidelines. With that only we can live, we can have a better society, because customary practice, the values, the norms, the morality, the usages, the doctrines have certain values in our society. That also to be learned, because that is why we say that moral laws also having the validity of law. We learned that also. Article 13 very clearly says that custom and practice is having the validity of law. Certain custom. Now in modern society we think that custom is not required, moral is not required, because Article 25 clearly says you have a right to profess, practice your religion, provided you should not violate the morality, you should not violate the health of the person, you should not violate the public order. There also even morality is said. What is moral? The usages, the practices which are acceptable by a class of people and people are practicing without violating the right of others. the practices which you are doing, the usages which you are following, the custom which you are following should not violate the right of others, then it is moral. But now we feel there is money can cover everything. That's why people are behind the money. But when a situation comes, they also feel that, because now many practical examples are there, many cases are going on in our country. Morally, what they are supposed to do, that they are not doing it. The immoral activity finally makes them to land in such a situation, to the prison or to the police case or to in such a way, because every person is having certain obligation, certain duty towards the society, towards the state, towards the country, towards the people, those who are around you. Around you means to the parents, to the wife, to the husband, to the children. Here and all, money won't work out many a times in the relationship. That people must understand. Especially in law, we are learning that also. These teachings to be given. That's why they said that why we teach us these moral lessons in religion. Ultimately, why teach us? Because Aruna Roy case, if you read Aruna Roy versus Union of India, the moral teachings are very much required to build character in human being. If the character is not built, that there is no use at all. Ultimately, the character to be built, then only we can have a better society. That is said by many. Money cannot build the character.
Sir,
Please.
if I may interrupt about Aruna Shanbhag case, which talks about right to die
Yeah,
with dignity and euthanasia.
Yeah.
So there is a valid moral question.
Yeah.
So like different religious groups will be against it, or some would be a lot more an idealist who actually supports a life that is in a vegetative state to be ended. And in such dilemma, what should be the right choice,
The thing is that
and
you
how to make that choice?
the thing is that that's why we said that even I just said Justice Bhagavati, as per the changes in the society, as per the needs of the society, the law to be changed. You see, once law sati was an accepted practice. If the husband is dead, wife has to sit on the pyre of the husband and go along with or about the journey to the heaven. And afterwards we come to know that is not right, that is an immoral practice. We made a law for rejecting it, opposing it. Finally, law has been enacted for the abolition of it. Child marriage, it was a practice within that, people were promoting it. Afterwards we come to know it will affect the society at large. The Child Marriage Prohibition Act has been passed. Dowry Prohibition Act has been passed. Many laws which many moral practices were accepted by the society. Afterwards, the same society said, as per the change of time, this cannot be practiced. This is adversarial to the life of the person. It will be negatively affecting the life of the person. So we have to stop it. But through moral teachings, it was not possible. Finally, law has been enacted for abolishing it, to stopping it. So, such a way, if a moral practice, which anti-corruption laws are for that purpose, a person who is taking bribe, a person who is giving dowry can be punished. Such a way, laws can be enacted as per the requirement of the change in the society. You see, in Aruna's case only, it is said the requirement is such. If a person is not in a position to live because he is suffering such, why not make a bill and say, if I am going in such a condition, in a vegetative condition, with the help of a medical team, to end my life, it is the will of the person, wish of the person, that can be done. So, it also, the time changes. Accordingly, people are accepting the new norms, new practices. But that doesn't mean that new norms and new practices is totally violating the morality of the society. The so-called morality, which gives certain protection to the people, which gives certain confidence to the people, which gives certain courage to the people, which enhance a better life to the person or standard of life to the person. Let them, if it is not disturbing the others, have it. That is only said in our constitution. That's why the religious laws were increasing. Think it of Hindu laws, Christian laws, Islam laws, entry of persons in the many religious places. There is lot many restrictions and all. Courts are enacting it and courts are declaring it. These are violations. If the violations are come, state will take care of it. State will make law for that. Such practices should be stopped. And people, those who are thinking progressively, will contribute. Finally, we will come to a group and we will say, yes, majority may support and say, no, this practice to be abandoned or abolished. Thereby laws are enacted. So
Thank you, sir.
You,
Thank you,
you
sir.
see, Nida, you see, you must think it of the words of Gandhiji. He really said, keep your thoughts positive because your thoughts become your words. Keep your words positive because your words become your behavior. Keep your behavior positive because your behavior become your habits. Keep your habits positive because your habits become your values. Keep your values positive because your values become your destiny or life. So, a set of values, a set of good habits, a set of good thoughts are required. Then only we can have a good destiny. This is made possible by the proper enactment of law, by the proper implementation of law, by the proper interpretation of the law. That is the beauty. It is said in the law, and we got a chance to know these laws and to take part in the implementation of the laws, or to teach the laws, to interpret the laws, or become the part of this. So that's why I said that we are lucky.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
Nida.
Thank you for
Okay,
answering my
okay,
question.
Nida. Okay, Nida.
Okay, somebody else was going to ask a question. You can
What is
ask
that,
it right now.
David? What is that, David? Let me
Yeah.
go through.
No, no, sir. There was somebody who was going to ask question with Nida,
Okay,
who
okay, okay,
unmuted herself. So
okay,
I'm
okay,
asking
okay,
her to just come up.
okay, okay.
Okay, is there anybody else who want to ask a question? Hmm. Sir, I had a question. I might.
Please, David, please.
Sir, it's about ADR and the effectiveness of ADR, especially when it comes to arbitration.
Yeah.
Because I've heard that arbitration is very costly, and so it is very difficult to arrange it for people with not that much of money.
Hmm.
So, what is the remedy for giving arbitration to poorer sectors of the society?
Actually, arbitration, the thing is that now arbitration, they to appoint an arbitrator, or you have to give lump sum fees and all. But now a provision is there in the section 89 CPC. Even court can refer a matter for arbitration. Court is supposed to have a panel of arbitrators. Now, every district they are having panel of arbitrators under the High Court. They selected the arbitrators. They can take up the matter there. Even in that arbitration, if a matter is decided, they can get back the court fee. Such provision is made, that is part of legal aid. And moreover, the ADR system, section 89 CPC says a matter which is pending before the court can be sent by the court if they feel that this matter is can be settled through the process of arbitration or conciliation. The appropriate judicial settlement method can be used by the court. Thereby, there is no matter other way than arbitrations which are normally in commercial transaction. This is used in commercial transaction. Parties are well-to-do. They are ready to pay for that. If the matter which comes a person who is not in a position poor, they can take up the matter to section 18 through court, or now we are having the agencies under the district legal service authority. We are having some provisions for that also.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for
Okay,
answering
okay,
that question.
okay, David.
I think that is it because nobody is coming forward with any other
Give them,
question.
give them, if they have any of, they give them my number. If they are not having doubt now, let them ask in future. There's no problem. Anytime they can ask if they have any doubt. My number you just give to them, David. Let them
Okay,
have
sir.
any doubt. They can ask in future.
Yeah, okay, sir. We'll post it in the group. Now, since we don't have any other question, we'll just come to the end of our session. I invite Miss Amina SM, an intern at LGR, a fourth year law student at CSI Law College, Parshala, to give the vote of thanks.
David, one minute, David. David, I think we have discussed a little bit the subject which is already said by them, isn't it? Is it useful to you all?
Yes, sir. It was very useful. It was very useful.
Because I was also in little speed because within 2 hours it's not possible to complete this ADR and all. But
No,
I
but sir,
just
but we got to get a lot of idea about different things. For example, Barben's relation and all the stuff. It was really unheard of, especially after
okay.
me. I'm a fourth year student and I've never heard of
Okay.
speaking about that. So it was a very productive session, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, David.
Okay, so Amina, we would like to hear your vote of thanks right now.
Yes, David, thank you. Good evening to all. Basically, my duty is to deliver a vote of thanks, and as we know, we have successfully on our fourth session of our internship program. Congratulations, guys. To be honest, it's my honor to mention a deep sense of appreciation to our key speaker, Advocate Bhuvanendra Nair, sir, for his excellent coverage on today's topic. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing your knowledge.
Thank you, Amina. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I also take this opportunity to thank Mr. Tejas Purushothaman, LGRF State President, and Mr. Ajay R. Kamath, LGRF State Secretary, for their immense support to this program. Now, I extend my gratitude to a strong pillar of LGRF, Mr. Steve Mohan, sir, Assistant Professor, Government Law College, Trivandrum. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Next,
Okay.
I would like to thank our coordinators of this internship program, Advocate Neelima V. Nair and Advocate Vinay M. Kurian, for their enormous effort in turning this session into successful one. Thank you so much. And I also mention my thanks to Lakshmi S, supervisor of today's session, and technical coordinator, Mr. Sukesh, for their support behind this program. Last but not the least, I convey my extreme gratitude to my co-interns. Most of us have a university exams, and still we have managed here to come here to attend this successful and thank you so much, guys, and thank you and everyone who are supportively aided to make this session worthwhile. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Let us
Thank you,
hope that
Amina.
future we will have a chance to have a direct discussion in future because the corona is because of corona we cannot directly discuss. I think near future we can have a direct talk. Let us hope for that.
Yeah.
Thank you all. See you all directly.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you. I'm just
Thank you,
leaving.
sir.
Okay, David. I'm just leaving.
Sir,
Thank you.
Sri Lakshmi ma'am is going to conclude the session right now. Our
David?
supervisor. Our supervisor will conclude the session. She will come once again.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir conveyed a lot of relevant informations to us about the relevant topics dealt with. And I think I am pretty sure that it will also help us in our future career and all studies we pursue. And thanks to all interns for their kind cooperation. Now we can wind up our session. Have a good moment always.
Okay.